Obviously, we start off with a bit of subliminal. We can never forget that, can we? So I've got it just a little bit lower now so that you can't have the state of my flipping guttering detract away from my handsome virile self. Right, so I thought I'd just stick the camera on and let you see me working. So anybody looking at this for any meaningful information, there probably won't be apart from me just talking while I'm doing it, but this is what I'm doing. So across the top, oh whoops, there we go. This is the one I'm working on, right? So across the top you've got a set of penguins, all uncirculated, they are, and then you've got a load of other coins. So there's 30 different 50p's on there, and you've got everything from, there's a dictionary, there's a Roger Bannister, there's uncirculated People's Act, uncirculated by the look of it Sherlock Holmes, various things, a couple of Olympics, so on. Right, 100 quid a sheet. Now, I did a 10 sheet yesterday. That's 10 sheets. So when I say a 4 sheet or a 10 sheet or whatever, so I did 10 sheets exactly the same. So every single sheet had exactly the same coin in it in exactly the same place. So it's 10 of exactly the same. Somebody bought the lot within 10 minutes. What I'm working on now is a 20. So this is 20 sheets exactly the same. And all 10 sheets had a set of penguins, and all 20 sheets have got a set of penguins. And some of the coins on the 20 sheets, so it's 20 sheets all exactly the same, some of the coins on here will be the same as what's on the 10 sheet one, but some of them won't, some of them will be different. But what this is 20 sheets exactly the same. Gibraltar. So that's what I'm working on now. This has also got Gibraltar in it. Now what I did was, I sort of cheated a little bit. Now I said I wasn't going to list anything that I haven't got, which I haven't. Everything is ready to go. However, because I did the 10 sheets yesterday and listed them yesterday and they sold within 10 minutes, I sat here while I was watching the news. I put another sheet together and I thought, right, I'll put a sheet together. This is going to be a 20 sheet. And so I'll just put one together so I can photograph it, and I'll list it and say I've got 20 available. And then I'll put them together tomorrow. So what happened? So I put one together. I photographed it, listed it, and sold all 20 within 10 minutes. So effectively, I then put myself straight in a position of selling something I haven't actually got ready to post, which it goes against the rule that I just set up for myself. So I thought, well, it'll be there for a couple of days, you know, and a few of you will buy them, you know, different people will go, oh, I'll have that off my bill, and I'll have that off my bill. But of course, one of you was extremely astute and realised that they actually can't lose money or can't lose much if they lose anything at all on this. And the fact that there's a set of penguins in each one, along with old large 50p's, and I mean an old large 50p retail price is worth a minimum of a fiver no matter what one it is, really. And if you multiplied 30 coins by a fiver, that would be 150 quid a sheet. That's if you sold all 30 coins at a fiver each. Obviously you ain't going to sell all 30 coins at a fiver each, but there are some coins on here that are probably worth more than a fiver. So £100 a sheet is actually not a bad price, especially when it includes a set of penguins. Now I have got a couple of 50p sheets listed that haven't got any penguins in, but I am going to try and put a set of penguins into as many sheets as I can. This is the This is the other 19 that I'm sitting here doing in front of you. And I'm putting them all in exactly the right place. Now we want a library. 20 libraries. And I do this every now and again. I've done this a few times where I'll put the camera on, and I'm not really putting it on for a video. I'm not really putting it on to get any hits out of it or anything like that. I'm putting it on just so's. Could do with that being a bit lower really, couldn't we? I wonder if we could make that a bit lower. I'm doing it so's that see if that works a bit better. I'm doing it so's that you can see that I'm not sitting on my fat arse doing nothing and pretending that I'm stressed out and got loads of work on. I mean, I'm literally doing this kind of thing day and night at the minute. I have had a couple of people out there, a couple of you, have offered to do some sheeting up for me, and that's great, and I will take advantage of that. There's no point me getting any of you to do this because I need them immediately. But at the same time, you see, I'm working on other sheets. So yesterday I was working on a load of Isle of Man, and I'm in the process of putting together 50, might even be 100 sheet as well, a 50, a 40, 30, a 20, a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Those are the numbers of the sheets. So for example, you know, as I go through the coins, putting them in, I might have an odd number left over, so I might have 2 coins left over. So those 2 coins will go over there for a 2 sheet. So that'll be 2 sheets exactly the same. When I get another 2 coins left over, it'll go in that box. If I've got a 1 coin left over, just a single coin left over, then it goes in the 1. And when that sheet is made up, then I start another sheet for the odd coins that are left over, you see. And where I've got a lot of a coin, I can count out 50 or 100, so that I can make 50 sheets or 100 sheets, all exactly the same. You see how quickly I'm doing this. And I've already been working on this for 45 minutes, and I've got that far. So I've done about half of it. So it takes, so to do 20 sheets and put a 50p coin, that's 30 different coins, because you've got 30 pockets, 30 different pockets, and every single coin is different. So that's 30 coins times 20 sheets. That's 600. And then there was 30 sheets times 10, so that's 950p's sold within the last 24 hours. Library, Roger Bannister. Now, this means a couple of things. This means one of the things this means is that I was right to hold my bottle and to do this and to gamble the last real £1,000 on these sheets, because I bought loads of these sheets instead of the option at the time was, because everything had gone tits up, and one could easily panic over the amount of money one owes and all the rest of it. So, one of the panic moves that John and I considered was to literally just run around like a blue-ass fly, collect everything up, put it all in a car, put it all in a barrow and wheel it into the NatWest and chuck it in a machine and cash it in for face value, and then just start paying people back. That was one of the things that we considered. The reason that I went against that was because, even though we both considered it and we talked about it, but the reason, and some of you might wonder why I never did that, the reason why is because I knew that at face value, There is no way I could pay everybody back. No way on earth. I mean, I've got like hundreds of thousands of pennies sorted out in days and all the rest of it, which a lot of people laugh at. You know, imagine. And all these 50p's. I mean, if I'd have cashed in these 50p's alone, 950p's, 450 quid. I know that I'd have cashed everything in and I would still owe money. Because my money is not in the face value. My money is in the retail value. It always has been. And the retail value of 950p's is £3,000. So I could have cashed all this in for 450 quid and paid somebody, or hold my bottle, believe in my idea, in the hope that someone will come along and I'll end up getting £3,000 off the bill. And that's exactly what I've done. That's like me selling. It's no real different, as I'm sure you'll all appreciate. It's no real different to me listing these 950p's yesterday, selling every single one of them for cash, taking in £3,000 and giving it to the investor that bought them. Well, there is a difference. I'd have actually lost more money doing it that way. Thinking about it now, as I'm talking to you and I'm thinking about it, let's think about it. If I'd have sold them all £100 a sheet for cash and got in £3,000 cash, the PayPal fee on that alone would have been 150 quid-ish, 100 to 150 quid. The eBay fees would have been around 300 because they charge about 10%. So 300. I pay another 10%, so that's 600. 700. So around 750 quid would have been costs. And therefore, I wouldn't have been able to give somebody £3,000 off the bill because they'd have been paid £3,000, and it would have been 750 quid short of £3,000 because of the expenses. So I'd have only been able to have paid off £2,250 worth of actual cash off of the debt with the £3,000 worth of stock that I've just sold. Now, the way that I've actually done it, as you know, those of you that are doing this, you see what you want, like this person did, and you offer £1. 1981. So we've got 1981 50p's next going into this. Right, so the person comes along, says to himself, I'll have that. So he offers me £1 for each sheet. And so now, as far as we've got it head side up or tail side up, tail side up. So now, we're on a bit of a roll. Right, so comes to the investor comes along, offers me £1. And as I say to people, you paid £1. I know that's a ball ache, you're paying £1, but there's no postage. And £1 is the cheapest you can sell it for on eBay. So he comes along and he offers £1 a sheet. So that's 30 sheets, £30. I paid eBay 10% commission on £30, which is £3. So that sale, or those two sales, that have allowed me to clear £3,000 worth of debt. I've used eBay's forum, I've used their shop, I've used their platform, I've utilised it to my advantage, and instead of paying all that money, all I'm paying is 10% on £3, and all PayPal are getting is 5% on 30 quid. £1 a sheet times. So they get bugger all. And I manage to knock £3,000 in one hit off the debt. Plus there was some others yesterday. Some of you don't like the stamps, I know, but some of you do. And so far, with stamps, I've paid over £1,000 off the debts. Paid £1,000 off that with stamps. As any of you that used to watch the old A-Team back in the day, pardon me, old Hannibal's most favourite line, I love it when a plan comes together. And I do, I love it when a plan starts to come together and things start working. I've paid somewhere in the region of, and this is no joke, I've paid somewhere in the region of 15 or 16,000 pounds off my debts with stock. And every single person, touch wood, so far has gone away happy because I've made sure I've asked them. I'm sure you're happy. Haven't had anybody at all. I haven't had anybody say no. And it's pretty much guaranteed that every single one of you that go for it, none of you will be unhappy. And the reason I can say that, because that sounds a bit big-headed. Oh, what? So none of them are going to be unhappy? Really? You think every single person's going to be unhappy? Yeah, actually, I do. And I'll tell you for why. Because the person that bought this yesterday, these 20 sheets, and the other 10 sheets that I did first, I didn't drive all the way up to his house, punch him on the nose, put his arm up his back, and force his other arm to go on the computer and buy these, and then force him to knock it off the debt. I didn't do that. All I did was put the sheets together, put a price on them. I said, this is the price I want, and I don't care whether I get that price cash, which is what I say to all of you on all of my stuff. I don't care if I sell it for cash, thereby have the money to pay towards my debts, or I don't care if any of my debts come forward and say, I'll have that off the debt. Now, the person that bought this, they didn't have to come along and buy all 30. They could have just bought one. They could have just bought one and said, I'll have one for me, one for the wife, one for my kids, one for my grandkids, and then I'll wait and see whatever else you have listed. Right? And nobody stood there over that person with a shotgun and said, you have to have this stuff. Any one of you had the opportunity, because those of you that are following the shop and subscribing to the shop, then the eBay system will automatically send you a notification to say you know, this seller that you're following has just listed more items. Because if you tell it to tell you that, it will tell you. Every time I list a new item, it tells you. So this person, like every single one of you, had the opportunity to not bother, or to wait, or to think about it, or whatever. But they didn't. What they did was, they went straight on and bought the bloody lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one, archery. And some of the coins in here are not particularly rare. I mean, archery ain't rare. But let me tell you, whether you realise it or not, archery's got a £5 price tag on it now. All those Olympics, you know all those Olympics that even when you're searching for 50p's, you throw them back because you just find too many, like archery and canoeing and cycling and all that. You know, used to find so many and nobody wanted them, right? Because of course those sports haven't got the following that football's got or some other things have got, and because they made more of them. But you see, the thing is, and this is where my knowledge comes in from 7 years of me following this market and learning, is that over the last couple of 3 or 4 years, they have dumped millions upon millions upon millions upon millions into the system. Just the 2017 Beatrix Potters, remember, getting stuffed over that, remember? 50 million. 50 million. So that's 50 million coins that go into a mixed up countrywide pot that are diluting. The more that goes into it, the more it's diluted, the more it's diluted, the more it's diluted, right? You put some squash in a glass, strong. The more water you put in that, the more it gets diluted. It's the same with the money. The more they bring out, the more they dilute the system. The harder it becomes to find even things like dictionary or archery. If I was going to go back into selling one coin at a time, I would not list an Olympic coin less than $4.95. Especially if you're going to include free postage. There is actually no point. And those of you that are out there, like me at one point, there are those of you out there that are sitting on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the common Olympics, of the Olympics that people don't want. Let me tell you, if you've got those, stick them up for a £5. Just stick them up and leave the listing. And I promise you, it won't be that long before you start selling them. Oh, that one looks like it's uncirculated. Archery. Core, that's in good condition. That is spanking. You can even see the glint. Look, that is spanking. That's an archery, that is absolutely. And it's still got the rough edge that you get with an uncirculated, where you feel that rough edge, still got a bit of that on it. That's in good condition, that has. What was I saying? Canoeing next. So in this one you've got canoeing, you've got dictionary, you've got library, you've got archery, you've got 5 uncirculated penguins. There's also class stands to go in there, 1973. Now what that means is, and think about this too, is if I've listed these at 100 quid a sheet and they've gone within 10 minutes, then I could have put them up at 120 quid a sheet or 130 quid a sheet. And every single one of them would have gone within a week. At some point, if any of you have any of these sheets, and I'm also talking to the person that bought these, but if any of you go for any of these sheets, get a permanent marker, put on here, right on the side, the date, 2019, £100 a sheet. And if you're going to buy them off me to resell them, don't think about buying it and selling it always for less than what I'm putting it on, because that's what some people do. They think, right, well, Ian, you're selling it for that, I'll sell it less because I'm happy to just return half. I'm happy to, if I just return half my money back, if I return 3/4, if I return this, if I return that, I'm happy, and so on. Yeah, I get that. I really get that. And for those of you that have no choice because you are skint, well, you know, I can't blame you for doing that. However, that does have a detrimental effect, and I'll come to that in a minute. But for those of you that can, for those of you that can take one of these sheets off of what I owe you for 100 quid, and you ain't in a hurry for your money, please take my advice, right? If your idea is to sell it, but you're not in a hurry for your money, put them up at 150 quid a sheet and leave them there. Just leave them there. It won't be that long before the market catches up with it. And I'm telling you that at some point, these will sell cash for 150 quid a sheet. They can't not. Yes, they've got some crap coins on there, what some people consider to be some crap coins because reasonably easy to get hold of. But in a way, every single one of these coins is not that easy to get hold of, is my opinion. Even the things like Team GB. Team GB, we used to find it all the time. Commonwealth Games, all the time, used to drive me and John mad, and some of you. You don't find that many now. You go and search 500 quid's worth, £1,000 worth of 50p coins, and you'll be lucky to find a dozen. And I think that that's, you know, it's gone right down, volleyball. Volleyball's another one, used to be really easy to find. Not now. Right, so now I said I'd come on to the detrimental side of it, didn't I? So this is another reason why I decided to do the sheets. Because it means none of you can compete with me. None of you. Because even though this 20 sheets will be every sheet exactly the same, like I said to you, the other 10 sheets, they had a lot of coins on there that were similar, the same coins as what's on here, but they also had coins that are not on here. And the 50 sheets will have coins on it that are on here, like the penguins and maybe a couple of others, but there'll be other coins that it won't have on it. So you won't be able to compete with me. It'll be extremely difficult for somebody to copy me exactly. What you can do is you can go out and buy your own sheets and you can make up your own sheets, yeah. But you can't copy me exactly. That makes a huge difference. I'll tell you why. Get people come to me and they'll go, right, so I've said people will cash in what they can for points, or maybe I might be paying somebody in points or paying somebody in goods, or, you know, you're cashing in goods or you're cashing in investment or whatever it is. So you get something off me and then you want to sell it. So you might buy a Peter Rabbit off me, and then you go out and you, or let's take this perfect example. So you buy one of these off me, 100 quid, and then you go out and you go and list it for, say, 60 or 70 quid. So then, in a week's time, somebody else comes along and goes, you're well overpriced on them 50p's, you know. I've seen them for sale for 60 quid. And the person that they've seen them for sale for 60 quid is the person that's bought them off me for 100 quid, but maybe They want to sell them cheap to get some of their money back, so they've listed it for 60. Now everybody else thinks that's the price. And I had that with the Peter Rabbits. And that's why I've now drawn a line on the Peter Rabbits, and I've said that the Peter Rabbits, not part of this cashing in deal for what I owe you, because they are overpriced. I have overpriced them on purpose. Because thanks to the deals that I've had with some of you, what we've done between us, between me and you, by you listing them for less money than what you bought them off me for, what you've done is you've kept the price artificially low. You have helped keep the price artificially low. Somebody come back to me the other day and they said, oh, you know, the Peter Rabbits, they're only $5 each. I'm like, yeah, I know. And some of those people that are selling them for $5 each, they bought them off me for $10, but it was because of what I owed them, and so they're selling them off cheap just to cash their money in, which is, to me, a bit silly because it costs you in the long run. But you know, there's that idea of, well, if I sell it cheaper, then I'll sell mine. No. List them for the same price or dearer and let everybody else sell theirs first and then sell yours. Unless you are that desperate, you have to do that. But even if you are that desperate and you have to do that, Commonwealth, it then, you know, I then get a backlash because people then come to me and say, oh yeah, but they're for sale for this much, they're only this much. So I end up competing with myself in a funny kind of a way. Now, you can't do this with that. You can't do that with this. You cannot do that with this. The way that I'm putting these sheets together, it's impossible. Because under the current way before, I'm selling a Peter Rabbit, you're selling a Peter Rabbit. What's the difference? It's the same Peter Rabbit. There's no difference except the price. I look expensive, when actually I'm not. You're just trying to cash in money quick. But makes me look expensive. So now, this person that bought these 30 off me, right? That person could list these, as we said, half the price he's bought them off me for. It won't affect me as badly as it affected me from before. Because the next sheets that I put up for sale will not be exactly the same as this one. So somebody could say to me, oh yeah, but there's someone else selling them for 50 quid a sheet and they've got a set of penguins in. I can say, yeah, but it's not exactly the same sheet. If you look at their sheet, there'll be some coins that are different. Yes, there is the other argument. Someone may come back and say, well, all right, so there's 4 coins that are different. That don't make it worth an extra 50 quid. But I can then just be a politician and say, all I'm going to say is refer you back to the original answer, and the original answer is the sheet is different. At least I have a back door. The sheet is different. Gives me a back door. You must always leave someone a back door, somewhere to go. Whereas before, I can't say anything's different. Oh, but you're selling them for 15 quid and someone else is selling them for 6. Oh, that's out of order. How do you explain to that person? Yeah, but the person that's selling them for 6 bought them off me at 15. I'm not responsible for what they resell them for. What all of you should do, if you don't mind me using the word should, because I get told off for that, being a, you know, friends of therapist and all that. It's one of the words that one shouldn't use in life is should. Instead of using the word should, one should use the word could. But my advice is, what you could do, all of you, that decide to cash your stuff in, is trust me a little bit longer. I mean, let's face it, look how much you've trusted me already. Right? Look how much you've trusted me already. A little bit more trust, will that really hurt? So trust me a little bit longer and take my advice. If you buy one of these sheets from me, and your whole aim is to resell it, and you don't need the money right now, it's not life or death, you know, your gas bill's still going to get paid, your rent's still going to get paid if you don't sell it, then please take my advice, list them for 150 quid or more and leave them there. Look, they're not going anywhere, they're not going to get dirty. Just list it for the price, put it away nice and carefully, leave it there. Forget about it. Just forget about it. And then one day, you will wake up one day and you'll get a notification through, boom, you've sold one, 150 quid. And at that point, you can go, well, I'm blowed. He was right. So the Peter Rabbits that I've got listed are listed for 25 quid each. I'm not going to sell them for less than 25 quid each. And I say to people, do not buy it off the debt, because it's too expensive. I want to use that coin and that coin alone for video content, to prove about the retirement price, to prove to people that you can list it way in excess of what it actually sells for at the moment. You can list it for that price with a straight face and just leave it. Doesn't matter, people think it's too expensive. Doesn't matter. What matters is the work is done, it's put away, it's forgotten about. As far as I'm concerned, that coin does not exist. I've listed them, I've put a price on them. Class stands next. I've listed them, I've put a price on them, and I've put them away. And that one single coin, no matter what anybody says to me, no matter what, because I gave thousands and thousands and thousands of people the chance to buy that coin for a £5. So I don't care what anybody says. The ones that I've got left, I don't owe anybody any of those coins. So the ones that I've got left, they're up for 25 quid each, and they'll stay up for 25 quid each. And I'll completely forget about them. And then one day they will sell. Now the fact that I've sold 95 of them already is mind-blowing. 95 at 25 quid each, you work out that one. That's what's come off my debt so far, and each person I've said, don't buy that, don't take that off the debt. I'm not reducing the price on it, but don't take it off the debt. Because it is a bit overpriced. It's overpriced for a reason, and I'll tell them why. So that's the one coin I suggest you don't buy, but if you've got that coin, join me. If you've got that Peter Rabbit for sale, join me. Come on. What's it going to cost you? Nothing. It's going to cost you the price of a listing, that's all. The price of a listing every month, what's that, 5-10 pence a month, that's all. Let it just sit there, put it up, 25 quid each. If you've got 5 of them, put a listing up, 5 available, 25 quid each. Follow me. Trust me. And it may take a month, it may take a year. But I absolutely guarantee you that you will sell them at 25 quid each. And if you want to push the boat out even further, and you want to wait until I've sold mine, then list them at 30 quid each. Whatever price you list them for, it will take longer to sell them, but you will get that price. Even if you listed them now for 50 quid each. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, but sooner or later, someone will come along and they will buy it, because all the others will be gone. And it will be completely out of the blue. You won't even know it's coming. And when you run an eBay account by the retirement price, as it were, it's the only way I can sort of describe it in a few words. If you run an eBay account in that fashion, over time, you make a lot of money. Over time. It had been on so long it ran out. So over time, you'll get it. You'll get whatever price you put up. Head's way up. Trying to keep them exactly the same, see? Because then it makes it easier for you for storage. And, you know, the same applies to any of my sheets. Any of my sheets at all. I list the sheets and then I put an item number on a piece of paper with the sheet. So I know exactly which one it is when it sells. And you just take that sheet, boom, it's gone. And it's a lot easier to store. You can store them in envelopes then and separate them. 10 in this envelope, 10 in that envelope, or whatever it is. But you see, the sheets are a really good idea. And if you have those off me, the sheets will protect the coins. You ain't got to do any of that, it's all done for you. Put a little bit of paper with a sheet to say how much you paid for it and what year. And then, list it for double what you paid me. Yeah, list it for double. List it for 1.5 times or double. Don't list it for less. List it for more. And just leave it there. The only reason that you should be taking it off me, off the debt that I owe you, and selling it for less money, is if you are absolutely desperate and you need that money to pay the bills. You need that money to pay the rent. In which case, okay, can't blame you. But if you don't, then I would just say, trust me, whatever sheet you buy off me at whatever price, list it for 1.5 times or double and just leave it there. It don't matter how long it takes, a year, 2 years, it doesn't matter. However long it takes, and this is the ultimate proof for you. If you took 100 quid and you put that 100 quid into a high yielding interest account, work out how long it will be before you can withdraw 150, thereby you've earned 50 quid interest on your 100 quid. Right? Work out how long that takes. Then put one of these sheets up for 150 quid, 1977, old large 53, 1977. Right, you take one of these sheets and you see how long it takes to sell it for 150 quid. And I bet you sell the sheet for 150 quid a lot bloody faster than you get 50 quid interest on 100 quid. And that is how you should look at it. That is how you should always gauge it. How long will it take me to get my money? How long will it take to make a profit? Okay, if it takes 3 years to earn 50 quid profit, would I earn that 50 quid if I put the 100 quid in a building society? No, you wouldn't. Therefore, it makes it worth it. So I hope, really, really hope that I've educated everybody. Don't buy off me to sell it cheaper. Whatever price I sell anything for, even if you think it's expensive and you're listing it, you should list it for dearer. Doesn't matter what you buy off me, you should list it for dearer. You know, even the people that bought the Peter Rabbits off me at 25 quid, well, you've made your play now. You've bought them for 25 quid. So now the sensible thing to do is list them for 50 and just leave them there. List them for 50 quid and forget about them. One day, the market will catch up with itself and they will sell at 50 quid each. Now, it might take 5 years. Don't matter. You've set your stall out now, you've bought them. So don't list them cheaper, list them double. And all the people that have got Peter Rabbits listed for £5, my suggestion to you, unless you're absolutely desperate for that £5, don't sell them for that. I'd put 25 quid on them and just wait until they sell, because they will sell. Right, so I think I've probably kept you talking long enough. This has gone on for about 3/4 of an hour. I don't suppose you want to see me anymore. It was just to show you and have a little chat to you while I was working. And I've got, as you can see, I've been sat here doing them. I'm now down to my last two. Down to my last 2 gaps on all 20 sheets. And then this will be going off to the person that bought them. I'll go and wrap and pack them in a minute and order the courier. So we'll call it a day there. Thanks very much for watching. Like I say, it wasn't very interesting. I hope it's been of use. Bye for now.